presentation of yourself. Very shortly, your name, from where you are, and perhaps why you are here, but very shortly. So after me is Paul.
I'm Paul White. I'm in Northern Virginia, Annandale, Virginia, about 10 miles from Washington, D.C.
Thank you. John Kendall.
Hi, I'm from the UK and I'm a member of DMT Masters Club.
Thank you. Jenny.
Just remember to unmute. Hi, I'm all the way from Taupo, New Zealand, right down the bottom of the world, and I'm a member of Firebirds, as well as a couple of ordinary clubs here in New Zealand.
Susan.
I love being online.
Thank you. Susan?
I'm Susan Ellsworth, and I was originally a member of Firebirds Collective, still am, and today I'm representing Great White North Online, and I'm here mostly because, I don't know, I've had this idea for 10 or 12 years, and I'm getting to be infamous, and the next thing I know, there'll be Aaron who will be just as infamous as I am.
Thank you. Misako?
Thank you, Julie. My name is Misako Yo, originally from Japan, now living in Pacific Northwest Washington State.
Vic?
Vic Lindell from Victoria. I'm a member of the Royal Roads Club. We meet Wednesday evening and Monday at noon.
Thank you. And you are a very good host every time I go there. Aaron?
Hi everyone, my name is Aaron. I'm from Hong Kong, currently a representative of competitive communicators as an SAA for today. So back to you, Julie.
Lori?
Why are you here? The speakers are on there.
We want to hear Lori.
Yes, I'm from Michigan, and as you see, I brought a guest today. He sometimes likes to sit with me when I'm at the computer. But
Thank you. Manhal?
Let's see how this works. I just switched to my tablet so I can make the business meeting tomorrow instead of my laptop. So is the voice and the picture coming through?
Yes, very well.
Okay, good. I can participate tomorrow from the tablet. So
Yes.
Fantastic, great.
Wonderful. Alisa?
They're going around introducing people. So.
Hi everyone, I'm Elisa. I'm located in Toronto, and I'm a member of Great White North Online Toastmasters.
Wonderful. Florence?
And you guys are all in Vancouver, where I'm from.
Welcome. Florence?
Hi everyone, my name is Florence Atwa Lumodimo. I'm speaking from Lagos. I'm a member of the Toastmasters Club in Lagos, Nigeria, and I belong to District 94, which is West Africa. I'm also the public relations manager.
Wonderful. Mark Reynolds?
Naomi, she's here.
Yes. Can you tell your name? You are with Brian.
Hi, Julie. It's Naomi, Toastmaster from District 95 and District 27. I'm here at the conference.
Welcome. Have you been already online?
Yes. I'm here.
Yes. You are here. Wonderful. Welcome. Mathilde?
We're only hearing the speakers. Vic has his own speakers.
Mathilde?
Yes, hello, Julie.
Can you tell about you, just a second, from where you are?
Yes, sure.
And what?
I'm Mathilde Fischer from Germany, and I'm member of several online clubs, for example, Firebirds Collective, Beauty Storytellers Online, and Global Trainers Online.
Wonderful, thank you. Mark, you didn't speak yet. If you are there, you can speak. If not, we begin now, because we are already 3 minutes past. Anyone who didn't? Yeah, Brian, please.
Yes, I'm here. I have, and of course I have at my table here. I have Vic, and Naomi, and there's other people around. Lorraine is online somewhere, walking around in the convention center. So quite a few people are well aware of the man in the green hat.
Thank you very much. I have to tell you first that we have a real wonderful panel tonight for Pathway Online. And you will... Can you close, please, all your...
Is yours on mute, Brian?
Mute?
Yeah,
Brian,
this
for a moment.
Is it interfering with you? Okay. Go over to the next table and you'll probably be okay.
Brian, I speak now.
Go to the next table, you'll be okay.
If you let me. Okay? So, our panel are all on Pathway already, and they are all or online or in hybrid clubs. And also, they are DTM and cannot be put in one small box. So I would spend 3 minutes to each to introduce them. I will try to introduce them all very shortly. The first one to speak tonight will be Paul White. Paul White has finished his first pass, and he is also chief ambassador of a pilot district. Paul White, can you come up?
Yes.
And
can you hear me?
Yes.
Good. Could you put my first slide on, please?
Yes.
Thank you, Julie.
Share screen.
So it's not coming up. Should I just start? There we go. Wonderful.
I think it will start and it will come up here.
There we are. Good. Well, I have completed the presentation mastery's path. And one path does not an expert make, but I've noticed some important differences between the legacy program and pathways. So in the limited time I have, I will talk about 2 of those important differences. Next slide, please, Julie. We probably all agree that acquiring tools is a good thing. In the legacy program, we've acquired lots of good tools, communication tools and leadership tools and skills. Next slide, please. But using tools, I think, is priceless. And Pathways very thoughtfully guides us, not only along a learning path, but also what I call a utilization path. Each path and many of the projects in Pathways challenges us to apply communication and leadership skills in the world that we live in, work in, and play in. So for me, Pathways has fast-tracked me out of the 4 walls of my Toastmasters Club, leading to enhanced real-world personal and professional achievement and recognition. Next slide, please, Julie. My second point is that the legacy program is a one-size-fits-all program. As a Toastmaster, you fit yourself into a fixed and relatively rigid program structure, the famous Toastmasters two-track paradigm. Next slide, please. But in contrast, Pathways is customizable. In Pathways, you become a trailblazer. You craft or shape your own personal path. And there's a plethora of options and electives in Pathways. So you can really select a path that meets your personal and your professional goals. So when you combine those two differences, the push to apply skills and ability to craft a unique personal path, that all makes Pathways a really powerful tool for professional enhancement and for personal satisfaction. So I have a caveat. I'm a Toastmaster veteran. So I'm sure that I see Pathways very differently than a beginning Toastmaster might see Pathways. There are many wonderful twists to Pathways, but for the most part, to me, the educational content was very familiar for me. But there are lots of resources and competencies that you don't have in the legacy program. For me, though, it's the freshness of Pathways that makes a difference, because it has rekindled in me a new enthusiasm for public speaking. So next slide, please. For me, I have long admired Mahatma Gandhi. He said, "Be the change that you wish to see in the world." And for me, Pathways has done exactly that. Pathways has moved me out of my comfort zone to brave new worlds of opportunity. Thanks to Pathways, I now speak professionally, and I like the paycheck. And thanks to Pathways, I've organized a major and very successful story swap. And Julie and I are organizing another story swap as a Pathways project, possibly in December. So Pathways has boldly taken me where I previously did not dare to go. And I love Pathways. Thank you, Madam Timer. Madam Toastmaster.
Brian, are you ready to continue?
I have a short comment, Julie, that all should be muted right now.
Brian, can you take over now?
Okay. You can hear me now?
Yes. Yes?
So, for me, I've been following the Pathways program since it was the revitalized education program, and trying to figure out all the time, well, what exactly was it? And Pat Johnson released the first real information for us at the Kuala Lumpur convention, and I was actually online listening to the presentation that she gave. I kept following it, and slowly the word got out of how the program was. And I belong to an online club that is a hybrid club at the same time, called Post Mentors. And many of them are leaders of District 21 here. So I put together a presentation, a slideshow, that was not the slideshow that came from the traditionals that the Toastmasters were releasing. But I figured out how the paths work and put the slideshow together. And Vic Lindahl helped me because him and I collaborated in a mind map of how the choices that you have. So I presented that at Toast Mentors. And then I joined the club. I posted on Facebook. I said, is there any clubs that have online members. And we got this answer from great communicators who are based in Alexandria, Virginia. Most people know that as Washington, D.C. And one of my fellow members there is right here, and that's Naomi. And she's from Germany. And the other member is Julie. And Mark is somewhere in the background. So we joined that and we got into the program. And I was happy to see that basically the program was what I had analyzed as to what steps we're going to have to take. I am up to the level 5 in my first path. And this presentation that's been going on for the last 3 days, and tomorrow, is part of my level 5 project, which is very similar to an HPL. I will be giving my final report in that presentation. I just have to choose which online club that I give it at. Who knows? Maybe Royal Roads will let me present it there. I've been involved in the online movement ever since I helped form a club called the BI Entrepreneur Toastmasters. And we were meeting in the conference room of the Vancouver Island Technology Park, which was owned by Victoria University. We had the best equipment in there. We never did run an online meeting from there, even though we had the technology to do it. And it wasn't until I got to Royal Roads and helped form that club that we started the online meetings as soon as we approved it by our club that we wanted to be an online club. So it is an exciting thing, and the one thing I like about it is the revitalization of some of the older members, Toastmasters, that have been in the Toastmasters for years, like Robert Blakely. And I've been telling people he's as excited now as he was as a young person. And many of the young people could take a big lesson from Bob, as it's known. Thank you, Vic. You're showing me the banana. But to wrap it up, I encourage everybody to experience both 100% online. You get a fantastic international audience. And as I said today, visit the world. Just come to an online Toastmaster meeting.
Thank you. Is Naomi ready to speak also? We have to tell you that we all are, due to Naomi, that we are in great communicators now, because she was there before she went to Germany and wanted to go back and decided then to make remote possible. And we had looked at that online on Facebook, and that is how Brian and me came to be there. And Kendall too.
Put that on mute.
Naomi?
Thank you, Julie. So I started Pathways with District 27 because I am currently in District 95.
We can, one moment, just, we can see your eye, but not the rest. Perhaps you can change a little bit the camera so we can, yes.
What you got? There we go.
The camera's here.
Got it. Okay. See, challenges of online clubs. I have 2 cameras here. Okay. So, District 95, Germany, Kaiserslautern. I'm the Division F director, and I have 2 clubs, and I'm the president of Ramstein Speakers Association. And we just chartered Ramstein Speech Pros. So I received my DTM last year and wanted to do more. but I wasn't really excited about just doing another CC and getting another DTM within the current program. So the Great Communicators in District 27 is my first Toastmasters Club. And you never forget your first. So I reached out to them and they were allowing online membership. The irony of that is, in my first competition in 2014, one of the interview questions was, what would you do to improve Toastmasters? And my response was, incorporate new technology and allow us to do online meetings. So I'm really excited that I'm able to rejoin District 27 and the Great Communicators to do Pathways. So in my Pathways journey thus far, which is all thanks to Julie from actually showing me where to put my evaluations, how to do the final after assessments, and actually complete level 1. But the observations I found was the VPE really needs to be on top of his or her game. He or she is going to be managing 2 programs for the next 2 to 3 years. So a lot of Pathways, the onus is on the individual member to be diligent, to be conscientious about uploading their evaluations, about doing their before and after assessments, about making sure that they are actually annotating and documenting and getting credit for all the speeches they're giving, and to proceed within Toastmasters. So if I could impart anything, it would be pick some strong VPEs and make sure they're eating their Wheaties, because we're going to have a huge push to emphasize that the individual member needs to take responsibility, but they need someone to remind them. But I'm very excited about Toastmasters. I'm very excited about Pathways, and here in the convention, it's all the excitement, all the buzz, and we need to take this energy back to our clubs. Thank you, Julie.
Thank you. I see Matthew is here. Do you want to tell us something about the Pathway?
Hi, how are you, Julie?
Yes.
Am I on talking now?
Yes, you are on now.
Okay, yeah, thanks. Congratulations, everybody, for everything you're accomplishing with all this. I think I might have been the first person to join a Pathways Club in District 27 remotely, making the pitch that I wanted to learn Pathways. That was before they even considered having remote membership. So their impetus, I think, to start was to help me, because I wanted to get into Pathways, and they were a club willing to do it. It led, if you haven't heard the whole story, it led to several members from around the world joining the club, and it led to a remote president. The guy in the green hat there is the president of a club in Washington, D.C., while he lives in Vancouver. The other thing that I did was very extensively do my Pathways projects outside my home club. I have been taking the evaluation forms to my local club and lots of clubs I visit, just getting toe in the water for people to see the new evaluation forms. And I can tell you that that club in District 27 needed a good, strong VP Ed. It is a big burden of work for that VP Ed to support everything. And it's been a good experience. Thanks.
Thank you very much. I have to tell you that I was stuck when Matthew came to my help and showed me how to close a project by taking my computer in his hands and showed me, and then I could show the others. So I think that individual help from one to other was very important, and I hope that in the future, of course, the guides and the VP also experience already at least level 1, so they know how to help others. Yes. Now, and also let me tell you that great communicators who had failing membership has now at June finished President Distinguished. So we did help. They helped us and we helped them. So let's see who would like to speak now. We finished with speaker. Mark is not here, I see. Anyone who has experienced pathway between you, who begin pathway?
I have a question.
Yes.
It begins to look like Pathways does things to do some team building. Is it just your experience, or is that something that is part of Pathways altogether?
Team building is one of the paths. Making a panel or holding a online meeting. It is one of the projects which I do.
Julie. Well, that looks like it would be fun.
I do it now. And also one other project which I just got as a manual is mentoring.
Oh my gosh. That looks great.
So I don't, I have to tell you that all the manuals somehow go together. All the projects which I made, one refer to the other. When I do storytelling, I'm reminded to make or to read at least the voice variety, the body movement. When I do the manage online meetings, I am reminding of the manager panel and so on, and how to manage difficult audiences, how to be nice and at the same time keep online for what you want to tell, or yes.
Could I add to that, Julie?
Yes, please.
Yes. One of the aspects of Pathways is that in many of the projects, you are asked to form a team of people to carry out a specific project or activity. And as you work on that project, so you can't just write a speech and go give the speech. You form the team, you carry out the activity, you get feedback from the team, and then at the end of the project, you report on the results and how your team did, with sometimes 360 evaluations from your team members. So there's quite a few projects that promote that kind of team cooperation.
Oh, wow.
Vic want to ask a question also.
Not so much a question. My only experience on Pathways is having the opportunity to evaluate Julie with some of the Pathways presentations. And I'm not on Pathways, but the fact that I was able to evaluate her online, she then made sure that I had the PDF form and I could fill it out online and get it back immediately, I thought was a very valuable part of Pathways. So I found watching Julie go through these various presentations has been incredibly educational for me. I particularly enjoyed the panel discussion where we talked about what it took to have a great panel discussion. And on the material that she read, that was incredibly exciting. So that's my experience in Pathways. And I very much enjoyed Paul today indicating that there you are, a person that's been a member for quite a few years and getting enthusiastic and fired up again. And Naomi, you've been a member for a few years, but what a way to rejuvenate Toastmasters. I've been a member since 1980, well, a little bit before that, actually, off and on. and then rejuvenated again and getting even more rejuvenated with the fact that we got Pathways, and I'm going to be able to do that online at some point. That's my contribution, Julie.
Thank you very much. I want also to add to that if I could almost finish level 5 at one pass and level 4 now, soon, on the second, it is only because I am going to Firebird for one speech, to Witty Birds to other, to Vic's and Brian's Royal Rose to another project, and so on. And there are so many possibilities when you are online in any way, not to leave home always. But I did my body language, and I did also another speech which was listening actively in my London club. And that was also an interesting experience for them. John, Kendall, do you would like to speak or to ask a question?
Thank you, Julie. I'm only on the first stages of my pathway journeys. I joined DTM Masters specifically to do so. I needed Julie's support to finish my first project. The same problems of the windows and closing assessment. I would like to think that the feedback that we're experiencing actually makes an impact on the developers. Is there a way that happens?
What is the question?
Is there a way that we can direct our experiences to the pathway developers?
Yes. I will publish. I have to tell you that one of my projects was make a compelling blog. And yes. I had to make 8 posts. I have begun 3 months ago. And today, this morning, I am at 10,000 people who came to, not people, readings. Because some come every day, so it doesn't matter. There are a lot less. But when for example, when it opened to the 14th region, there were a lot of people from there because I can look from where they come.
Yeah.
I think what we can do, I will publish the numbers, the telephone numbers, the emails I was given. But the first thing is to speak between ourselves, in my opinion. But it begin to change. I had a telephone conversation with Sue, who is the main instructional designer of Pathway, and I had seen they already changed some of the things. For example, you are no more stopped at icebreaker. You can go and look further, and there are other things also they begin to change. So we are, a new baby.
Yes.
It has wrinkles. And I think Pathway has some wrinkles for the moment, but it will be a wonderful, beautiful child, and already very useful.
I found it useful to get to do 2 pathways, one through Basecamp and one through getting the manuals, because I wanted to see, the levels 1 and 2. So I wanted to see the overall thing, as well as the stepwise way you're being led through Basecamp.
Yes, unhappily, if you did like I did the same, you will go to level 3 and you will have no choice between those 15 programs, they will give you 2. And when I had got that manual, I switched. I rather pay $20 and have the web and have a choice of 15 to it is like in a big bonbon. You can take these and read of them and decide, and I think that is a real wonderful experience. Yes, Matthew?
I think I just wanted to address John's question directly, which I think the answer is the best way to get feedback to TI is through the Pathways guides, and probably the best Pathways guide to try to get things through is George Marshall. He's got their ear. Now, if you go through a Pathways guide, of course, there's no guarantee they're going to pass on what you say, but that is the way TI is going to get and accept feedback best. They don't want every single person to email TI with a suggestion. They would like it to go through the Pathways guides who have contact with the TI staff. So get in contact with George Marshall or your Pathways guide that you have access to. They have TI's ear.
Yeah, and let's add that one of the region which will come open is Region 2, and our president of Witty Storyteller, Michelle, she will be one of the guides. She is now learning. So if you want a guide in online clubs to listen to you, you will be able to contact Michelle Albalim, because she's a guide, and I think many of us, as soon as Pathfinder arrives to us, we will try to be guides because we have the knowledge now. Any other question?
Paul has a question.
Yes, actually, I just have a comment, but we've talked about most of it. There is a formal system for notifying TI about possible changes, and it is the ambassadors and the guides. And there's a very formal program where the guides actually prepare reports to the district or to their program quality director, or the ambassadors to the chief ambassador, and then we talk to Sally and other people involved in Pathways. And that works very well. The problem is that if you are a member of Great Communicators and you're doing it online, you don't have access to the ambassadors and the guides. So I like what Julie said. At some point, you probably need to have pathway guides for the online clubs, because that's actually a very good way to get information back, and the process works very well. But if the online clubs don't have direct access to the guides, then you're losing something. And I do like the idea of communicating with George or with myself or with others who have involvement on the online clubs, because I can talk directly to Sally and mention things, like send reports to her, and it does make a difference. As Julie said, Julie has been intrepid in directly contacting TI and making things happen, and that works very well as well. So there are processes, and they're working well. And that's the whole purpose for having these test cases, starting with District 51 and then 27, and then continuing district by district, is to iron out some of the problems. And hopefully that has happened.
Thank you. Susan?
I have a question.
Yes?
What happens if I am halfway through my traditional DTM and then all of a sudden I realize, oh my goodness, my district is coming up for pathways. What do I do?
You can do them parallel for more than 2 years if you want. But in my opinion, once you get into pathway, you remain there. But that is my opinion. And anyway, how many DTM you want? I had gone second
I'm thinking
time.
about. I'm not a DTM collector, but I know that there are people who are DTM collectors.
They can continue if they want, but they will not have the same joy, the same excitation, the same using tools as Paul showed us in his picture.
So the rest of their club goes ahead with pathways, and they kind of get stubborn and don't know what to do, but they stick with their own thing that they were going to do. Will they ever get to that traditional DTM thing, or do they sort of have to toss everything over their shoulder and say, okay, I give up, I quit, I'm going to pathways?
No, they have to try. They just have to try. Yes, Aaron, you wanted to ask something or tell something?
I was helping you to wave to a new guest.
Okay, who is our new guest?
Vic?
You can look at Lorraine's screen.
Julie, I had an answer to one of the questions.
You heard Vic. Vic told that he began to feel like he would like to do it also.
Can I introduce Remy? This is Remy. Remy from Hawaii.
All right.
And you are from? You talk to her. Say hello. You're from Vancouver. No, from New Zealand. Yeah.
Lauren, yes. Introduce her. You can speak now.
Hello. Well, we've had a lot of interest and a lot of people walking past because they're not quite sure what this is. But a lot of interest, a lot of questions. And I'm sitting here with Remy from Hawaii. She is a past district governor, 1981.
Very nice to see you.
Yeah, thank you.
So Lorraine, you're telling them all about what we're doing. We're doing this online thing, and that today we're talking about pathways.
And did you see that Dan Rex said hi?
No, we missed that.
Yeah,
Did
Dan
Dan come by?
About 15 minutes ago.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Here we were wrapped around other things and paying attention to other people.
Yeah.
And so what, did he say anything or?
No, he just walked past. He was like, I think he was another one that's like, I'm not sure what you're doing.
Oh, well,
But they announced, I'll tell you, tonight they're going to announce whether, I don't know how many online clubs submitted a speech contest, but Firebirds did. So we'll find out tonight if the history is made with the first online club to place in the taped speech contest. Going to happen in about 9 hours.
Lorraine, do us a favor. And send a note.
Yeah.
That would be wonderful. Absolutely wonderful.
Fingers crossed online gets on the board tonight.
All right. Thank you.
Now, everyone, I will stop the recording and then I will begin again. So that part which will come, we discuss whatever we want between ourselves, but it will be recorded in a completely different place. So if you want, each of you tell something about pathway, last words before I close the recording.
I'd like to ask a question, maybe to further what Susan just talked about a few seconds ago. I believe she was mentioning, or I want to know actually, how...
Please speak slower. If you want me to understand, just speak slower. I am really...
Oh, yeah, sorry. Okay, I have been asked that question also before sometimes as well. Susan might approach that aspect. How do you convert from the legacy system to pathways? Is there some conversion?
No, there is no conversion.
Okay, so you start from scratch?
Yes.
In pathway. Okay.
Completely. And you don't regret it. Because you have another view of the new things. And even the third time I made an icebreaker, I felt it was a new. And the third time I repeated the speech 2 or 3 times to make it better, like all professionals do. Even if Matthew, I think he likes to make different speech, but incorporate the feedback. I try to make more or less the same message, at least, incorporating the feedback, but we learn.
I'm Helena from Indonesia. Very nice. She visited Firebird. Yeah.
Great. It is nice to see each other even again. You know, someone asked me this morning or wrote, what is the big thing about online? They are only 1% and they are not important. But that special feeling, I see you, I met you, I see you again, I see your kid, I know about you,
I don't know.
and you are on the other place of the world. That is something very special.
Previous one? Yeah. Previous one, like you said, Helena, please go out from the screen because only for 6 people. It's 6 persons. Aduh, I'm so sorry. Don't even worry. Really? Don't even worry. No. I don't want to disturb you guys meeting. No. We just tell you because you don't know. Don't worry. This is lunchtime. So luckily today, we're in an undistricted club. And so our club gets to compete in the tape contest. Hello. Online meeting.
Hello, Brenda? Is it Brenda? Or George?
Oh, you're the one giving it. Oh, good for you. She gave the speech today. Really? Yeah.
We are speaking about Pathway today, the new educational program.
So tonight, they're gonna announce the winners of the.
Would you like to ask a new question about Pathway?
Wow! So I won my club, and I sent the tape in. So I might online meeting happening. Online Toastmasters. Oh, it's very cool.
So, Paul, would you like to finish this part, making a conclusion?
For 23, 24, 25, 26, I stay with my Toastmaster friend. But for 28, after 28, 29, 20.
Lauren, excuse me.
Where do you stay?
Lauren, could you close the sound?
Julie, I just muted her.
Okay, thank you. So, Paul, would you like to close that part of the meeting? And then we can open and speak about anything else. But
certainly, I would be very happy to. But I'm hearing a lot of background noise.
Vic, could you close the sound there? Also.
Good. We're coming up on October when we always celebrate the anniversary of Toastmasters. And I'm always disappointed when I hear the story of how Toastmasters was founded and someone says Ralph Smedley wanted to have businessmen become better communicators. And if you read Ralph Smedley closely, you find out he had a much bigger vision than that for Toastmasters. He said in several of his books that he wants to improve communication because when you have better communication, you have better understanding. And when you have better understanding, you have a chance for peace in the world. That was his big vision. And I think there's no better way to show the International and Toastmasters International than the online clubs. When we can get together and talk to people all around the world in one setting, there's nothing better than realizing Ralph Smedley's vision.
Thank you.